Hello and welcome back to the Aurora Republic's Beginning at Basics Module 2. Today, this is Foghorn. I'm just doing this without a studio audience, as it were, and just going to simply record this training module and hang it up for everyone to use and abuse at their leisure. Today's subject, I'm going to go over game interfaces, money systems, and fleet management for our newest of new players who are just now coming in and decided to join the Aurora Republic and play Star Citizen with us. So, in Module 1, I went over your play space and controller setups and computer equipment and that sort of thing, peripherals. Now I'm going to actually go into sort of the software side of that and talk about how you actually get into the game and we'll get up to the point of actually being able to officially join the org in the game. So at this point, I've assumed you've probably gone to our website at aurorarepublic.space and joined us there, and it will probably have led you to the RSI website. If not, then to play Star Citizen, you will have to have an account on the RSI website, to which, as you can see here, you just simply go to Robert Space Industries, robertspaceindustriescom, and that will bring you to their front page, as you can see here. Of course, if you're in the EU, they have the silly laws because, you know, they're not free, they're all socialist, and have to acknowledge that they're putting cookies on your computer. Yay, thank God for regulation. Anyway, Robert Space Industries is the website that for CIG, and that runs Star Citizen and is developing it. So the first thing you can do if you decide that you want to peruse some things, their menu system is basically open to everybody with that, even without an account. So you can see what kind of content they offer, and you can even take a look at the game packages and all that sort of stuff, and go under Star Citizen and, you know, getting started and read up on how to download and how to fund and enlist and all that sort of thing. Look at the ship matrix and the star map, and if you're interested also in Squadron 42, which is a standalone game and is not required to play the Star Citizen Persistent Universe, which is where Aurora Republic exists. Then you can also see information about that. That is a standalone game. It's basically Wing Commander 6. Any of their in-lore communications is there. They have their store, which we will talk more to later. And then, of course, all of their community content, which also involves quite a bit of lore stuff. Over on the far upper right, you'll see My RSI, and that is where you click to log in if you already have an account, and if you don't, then you come down here to the center where it says Enlist Now and hit that, and it will take you through forms for you to fill out to create your account. So you have to create an account on RSI, and that's how you do that. Your private information is your login ID, password, and all that sort of stuff, your email address, and your birth date. You can put in, and nobody will ever see that. The public information is basically two pieces. The first one is the handle, and that is literally what people will see floating above your character's head when you're running around in the persistent universe, and what they will see whenever you're sitting in a ship. That's how your ship will be titled as well. The handle can have no special characters or spaces, so it's only letters and numbers, but it will accept an underscore, so it's basically URL friendly. The community moniker, however, is for the forums and on your your citizen dossier. So this, you can be pretty much any standard text rules, so you can have spaces, special characters. The handle is basically has to be unique. You can make your community moniker, so is basically anything. If someone gave you a referral code, you can put this in, and when the game goes live and money becomes real, and I'll talk more to that in a minute, if you put in somebody else's referral code, they will get credit for having referred you, but you will get 5,000 UEC when the game goes live. And that UEC is the in-game money, and I'm going to talk more to that later. And of course some CAPTCHA. This is how you set up an account. Okay. Now I'm already logged in here. So once you have your account made and you're set up, then of course you can come in and go to you could click on the first link, Star Citizen, and it will give you some advertising and some information on how the game's played and what's the whole idea behind it and how it was kick-started and how it's been funded since and everything that they're building and making and all that sort of thing. And it'll eventually take you down to download, which will be how do I get in there. So of course it has a checklist first. So first thing is of course have an RSI account, which I just talked you through getting. And as you can see over here down below in the blue is my handle, AR_Foghorn, and then my community moniker is obviously just AR_Foghorn, and I figured out how to put some symbology in there too, which you can do. The second part you have to be able to play the game, and this is the minimum required, and I talked to this in Module 1, is a game package. Okay, so you have to have bought a game package, and that'll green up this check. Once you have a game package, it'll of course green up this check, and then the last thing you'll have to do is hit download on the installer. This first time you download, it's going to be huge. It'll probably take a couple of hours because it's a lot of gigabytes going to be coming over your internet to come download the client. Okay. Little bit of bad news, but with good news to follow. 3.0 right now, 2.6.3 is the current persistent universe alpha that's out. 3.0 is supposed to be out anytime. Check is in the mail. That will also be a very large download the first time. After that, 3.0 will have installed the Delta Patcher, which will make things much faster as they do tweaks and updates and bug fixes and all that sort of thing, because it'll be very small patches more often with the Delta Patcher. So that's the bad with the good. So yeah, right now the current version is 2.6.3, and that's where you'd install. Okay, now the game package I mentioned. So you can go through and read all of these things, and it'll eventually bring you all the way down to, that's not what I was looking for. It's in list. There you go. Come on. How about actually clicking on the one I clicked on? I think they got a broken link. In fact, I'm sure of it. Okay. What is Star Citizen? How can I expect? Get all the way down here to the bottom, and it brings you down to the starter packs on that first page. These are the game packages that they're talking about, and these are the two smallest ones. This $45 you can choose the Aurora MR or the Mustang Alpha as your starter ship. Now these are the minimums. If you have more money to spend and you choose to, which I do not recommend, but if you do have more money, there is actually more ships available than just, or more game packages with bigger, larger ships available than just these two. I personally started with the Mustang Alpha just because I kind of liked how it looked. We have a lot of people who have Aurora MRs. And if you want to see the other starter packages, you can find them there, which will bring you to this website, or excuse me, this web page. Okay, and this has all of the possible starter packages. All right, this first one is Squadron 42 standalone. This is not a starter package. Okay, this is if you didn't want to play the rest of Star Citizen and all you wanted to do was get Squadron 42 when it came out. This is where you would get it, and it would cost you $45. Here are the that is different than the persistent universe, which is what we're talking about. Everything else down here is the persistent universe. Everything except for this one. So just don't buy off on the Squadron 42 one. Okay, that's not the one you're looking for. All right, Mustang Alpha and Aurora MR, there's those that I just showed you two. If you want both the persistent universe and Squadron 42, they have a combo pack. It says combo, and it's $15 more to get both, so you can get 60 bucks. All the rest of these are just standalones, or not standalones, they are game packages just with larger, better ships. So Avenger Stalker for 75, the Reliant Core for 85, Cutlass Black for 115, Hornet, which is sort of the premier fighter, Freelancer, which is sort of an 18-wheeler, the Constellation Andromeda for 275. It starts getting a little bit ridiculous. And then they have a huge pack called the Verse Pack for almost $800, and this has, and you can click on more info, and it says, okay, and it has, how many, I forgot how many it says it has, but it has an Aurora, a Mustang, a 300i, a Stalker, a Core, a Hornet, a Cutlass, Hornet, Freelancer, Constellation, and the Drake Dragonfly, which is basically a space motorcycle. Plus, it has all of these other things. You'll get 20,000 UEC starting, and all of that. Digital downloads, soundtrack. You get the biggest hangar that they've got. All kinds of things. Posters, a lot of bling and flair for your hangar. You get a Grey Cat PTV, personal transportation vehicle. It's basically a golf cart that you can run around your hangar in, and everything has 6 months insurance on it. I will talk more to insurance in a moment. Okay, so that's what we say when a game package. That's it. That's the only thing you need to buy, right? Now, you also see the secondary when you're in the store area, which is where we're at now. It also has a secondary navigation bar there. Game packages is where you'll find it. You can also go buy ships singleton, on their own. We call that standalone ships, and they have them sorted by. You can sort by class, size, who the manufacturers are, and everything, and you can find the same ships we talked about, plus basically every other ship that they know at this point is going to be in the game that they've revealed. Even if they're not for sale, you can find them in here, even though you can't buy them. So the Polaris Corvette, which is it's basically the smallest of the capital ships, and you can at least view the specs on it if that's what you want to do. So that $45 for the game package. If you just go buy a Mustang Alpha on its own without the game pack, like if you already have a game package, maybe you got the Aurora and you're like, I want to have the Mustang too, so you go buy them. You can buy the Mustang a la carte for 30 bones. And then, of course, if you want to see stats on a ship, you can click on them and it will give you some bling and some cool photos and hero shots of it. And then it has this matrix. I'm not going to go into detail this. The short of it is it has a legend down here in the lower right. They just redid this to make it more readable, and it's a little better, but I'm still not, it's still not blowing my skirt up for its readability. But right here is where the legend is, so I'm just going to let you decipher that to yourself for that specification. It also has a holo viewer in the middle, which will bring it up as fast as the slow internet in this hotel can catch up here in the middle of New Mexico. Okay, boom. And it brings up this holo viewer, which of course will do an auto orbit and rotate, but you can also grab it and pull it and move the menu out of the way. You can take a look at what it is you're buying. You can look at it in wireframe and 3D, or you can actually see the 3D mesh. You can look at it X-ray vision style, so you can see through it, see the components, all that sort of stuff. And then you can actually look at its performance specifications here. So to include maneuverability, numbers, speed, size, length, weight, all that sort of stuff. If there are variants out there, so like this is the Mustang Alpha, they also have a Beta, a Gamma, which is a racing version, the Delta, which is sort of a upgunned combat version, and they have another racer called the Omega, which was a very limited issue one, and I don't think you can even get your hands on them anymore, even on the gray market. So that's how you can look up stats of stuff. It's all on here. It's all on this website. Okay, now one of the places that when you are on the website and you're going to be doing stuff with your account is you can click on My RSI and it'll bring up your little mini dossier page with which you have some little badges that'll be hanging down under here, and this is where you can see your store credits, if you have any store credits in real US dollars. If you have any UEC, that stands for United Earth Credits, that's the in-game money, which basically does not exist yet, and I'll talk more of that. And the other thing is the rental equipment credits, which is a different version of in-game money, which is basically credits that you can use to rent ships and equipment just to try them out. This is where you can get into your account, you can get into your hangar. If you're a subscriber, there's your subscriber stuff there, so you can also over here have your contacts list, which as you can see, I pretty much have our entire org on the contacts list, plus a few other folks that I'm trying to convince to come over to their dark side here. Anyway, so your account page looks like this. Here in the settings, you'll have, this is a nav bar for the sections of your account, and within each section then you also have these pull down things. So if you need to make a change to your moniker, if you want to make a change, you can do that over there. You'll probably have one of these little symbols in yellow right here because you get one for free to change your handle, which I used to change to this, and then you can always buy another in the store for $5. This is also personal information, so I'm not really flashing much more of that. You can go into your profile. This is where you can add an avatar. This is where which of your displays, you know, and all of the badges that you've earned will show up down here. Civilian you'll already have because you got an RSI website account. When you buy in, you'll get new backer, scout, mercenary for the $45 level, and as you go up, a lot of the rest of these are based on money. Some of them are based on events such as Pirate Aggressor is beating Pirate Swarm solo, Aggressor is beating Vandal Swarm solo, buying a Tumbril Cyclone got you the stock owner there. If you recruit anybody, you get the recruiter. If you subscribe, you're a subscriber, and there you go. Okay, and you can put a short bio. You can, if you have a website, you can put it there, and of course, you can put a sort of a signature stuff. Referral program, I mentioned there, put in a referral code. So if you guys are looking and you haven't signed up your account in, here's my referral code right there. If you would like to get yourself 5,000 UEC at the beginning of the game, freebie, and give me another point worth of credit, that's fine. I would not say no. You can also get into your hangar there. You can also get that into your hangar right there. It takes you to the exact same spot. And that by hangar, it just means a list of all of the ships that you own and any other items that you own. So as you can see, I have a few standalone ships. Notice this says LTI. That stands for lifetime insurance. I will talk more to that in a few moments. And then you can see anything else that you've been awarded or have bought for real money, and it's assigned to you. Okay, your package will be labeled package right there. Okay, this is important. I'm going to say this again later as well, but do not gift, do not melt your game package. This is your access into Star Citizen, into the persistent universe. So when you buy your package, and with the exception of upgrading the ship in it to a larger ship, which is allowed, if you melt it, which means sell it back for store credit, or you gift it, which means just exactly what gift means, you gift it to you give it to somebody else, you've just given away your game package. You no longer have access, and you'll end up being forced to rebuy it. So don't do that. The one that says package, just kind of consider that untouchable. All right. Faster, funnier. My ROMs is rental something. I don't know what ROM stands for. If you have anything that you rented with rental credits, that will be listed here to include how much time is left on the rental. And if you have any buyback pledges, that'll be in here, which means this is if you melted something, such as for this demonstration, I melted an Origin 325A fighter, and if you melted something, you can always buy it back again for real cash. You can buy it again for real cash. You occasionally have an opportunity to have one buyback token where you can use your store credits if you have any. So, and I'm going to revisit that in a moment. All right. So that's login, account creation, menus, packages, and subscription. Okay, you can also in the store No, darn it. Yeah, there we go. Subscriptions. There are also 2 levels of subscriptions. If you choose to subscribe, you do not need to subscribe. You do not need to subscribe. That is a monthly, charge that's going to go against your credit card. Okay, if you are interested, they have 2 levels. They have a $10 a month and a $20 a month. And you get their magazine, you get hanger flare, which you saw is all cluttering up my hanger list. But there are fun things like posters and stuff you can put up on the walls in your hangers that kind of make things. You get loaner ships if you're a subscriber. This month it happens to be 2 ships. It happens to be both a Starfarer and an M50. So I don't own them, but when I go to the Aesops terminal, they're there for me to go and fly around the persistent universe, and they're also available in Arena Commander, so that I can go test drive these things and see if maybe I want to buy them. You have access to the subscribers den, a vault full of art that you can pull down, wallpapers and all that kind of stuff. Early access for stuff. You get coupons in the store, and then you get, I think, 10 or 20% off in the store. And then they give you rec per month, which is why I have like 99,000, because I was like, holy crap. They give you, 20,000 rec a month for the $10 level, 40,000 for the $20 level. Yeah, and then you get to test fly the ships if you wish to subscribe. Do not need to subscribe. You do not need to. You got money burning a hole in your pocket. They give you a couple of extra little bennies. Okay, there's extra stuff you can buy in the extras store. Bling, flare, skins for ships, additional, like if you want to change your handle again, if you want a gift card to give somebody $25 worth of Alpha UEC, or $25 worth of cash to use you change your handle for $5, that sort of thing. Okay. What's next on the list there? I'm just going right on down. Okay, the money systems. The first money system is, of course, real cash money, which we already talked about. Actual United States dollars or euros or British pounds or wherever you're at. New Zealand dollars for our New Zealander. That you're going to have to spend at least $45 US to be able to get into the game with a game package. Everything after that, you do not have to pay one more penny in for anything else after that, for that first smallest $45 game package. You will be able to earn Alpha UEC, or you'll be able to earn UEC in game, and you'll be able to buy everything else in game. It may take you a while. You're going to probably have to grind, but everybody's familiar with how an MMO works. Okay, so that is real dollars. If you melt a ship, which basically means you're going to turn the ship back into, you're going to basically give the ship back, and they will give you store credit equal to 100% of what you paid for the ship. So that Origin 325A was $70, so I melted it, so I got $70 back, and then I used $40 worth of the store credit for something else I will show you here in a minute, and then and so I still have that $30 worth of store credit just sitting there in my account waiting to be used, and it's been there for months. So it's you don't lose it at any point. It's theirs. When it comes to the real dollars and real money, and any ships that are bought with real money, they are yours always and forever. They'll never get taken away. Now, if you get them all bashed for your ship, if you get them all shot full of holes, then you might have to spend some UEC to get them fixed up. But that's in-game money for in-game stuff. Okay? Right now, the persistent universe isn't really that persistent, and even in 3.0, we're gaining some things that are persistent, but it's still not truly a persistent universe yet. So they don't have UEC, they have Alpha UEC, which, because we're in Alpha, we're developing. So any in-game money you earn right now is called Alpha UEC, and it stays, when you log out and you log back in, it stays credited against your account, so you can build up Alpha UEC. And there's very few things to buy right now. You can buy like some clothes, you can buy armor, and you can buy personal sidearm type weapons. That's about it. So alpha UEC doesn't have a whole lot of use right at the moment. And there's no way to exchange between players, and there's no way to exchange between like NPCs. There really isn't NPCs running around, with the exception of, like, I think there's shopkeepers, but they don't interact. They're just standing there looping through idle animations. So in 3.0, it's still going to be alpha UEC, but it's going to be starting to get, there's going to be a lot more trade. You're going to be able to trade, you're going to be able to shop, you're going to be able to go buy cargo and fly it from A to B and go sell it at the other place for a profit and all that sort of stuff. However, every single time they put out a new patch, the alpha UEC is wiped and resets, and any items that you bought, vehicles, clothes, whatever, that you bought with alpha UEC also gets wiped off your account and you're reset to 0. You're in development. This is not the finished ready game, ready for the street. Okay, so you need to understand that up front, that the alpha UEC is just that. It's alpha UEC, which means the second they go from 2.6.3 to 3.0, you're going to be starting over from their beginning of like 2500 alpha UEC again, I think is what everybody starts with. And you're going to be standing there in the basic flight suit, and that's it. And then you're going to run around 3.0, have a great time, you're going to do all kinds of missions, you're going to earn a bunch of alpha UEC, and you'll have a lot more stuff to spend it on, and then when they get to 3.1, it's all going to get wiped out again, and you're going to start over again from 0, because this is alpha, this is development, right? You're not in the finished game yet. It doesn't exist. So understand that. Now, sometime around either 3.1 or 3.2, I heard, heavy emphasis on I heard, this is hearsay, I heard that money and trading and all that's going to go persistent. In 3.0, about the only thing that's really going to go persistent is where you logged out, whatever landing zone or wherever you logged out is where you'll log back in, and any damage on your ship will still exist. That's about the sum total of how persistent the persistent universe is going to be in 3.0. as far as we know right now. Okay, rental equipment credits is, I explained pretty much. This is sort of a money system. You can get it from being a subscriber. You can also go competitively play in Arena Commander, Star Marine, or in the racing, which is you access through Arena Commander, but it's just not combat. So if you play on any of the competitive versions of that, which means something that'll get you credit towards the leaderboard, you will earn rec from those games. And you don't even have to win. You don't even have to be good. You just have to have participated, and you'll get some amount of rec. So you can just, so if you don't want to go do the missions, excuse me, if you don't want to be a subscriber, which I would recommend you don't subscribe unless you got the money for it. If you don't want to be a subscriber, but you still want to get some rec to maybe swap out some guns with some guns that you're going to rent and try them out, or maybe there was a ship you wanted to try out and just fly. Oh, by the way, any rented ships can only be used in Arena Commander. They can't be taken into the PU. However, rented weapons that you can swap those out on any of your ships, and those can go into the PU. Don't ask me why, but whatever. So anyway, you can get rec by just participating in those, even if all you do is stand there and get your butt kicked the entire time. Star Marine, Arena Commander are in the races. So that's it for that. Store credit, UEC and alpha UEC, and rec. Okay, I described melting already, which is selling a ship back and having 100% of its real cash dollar value turned back into store credit. There's something else that's called a CCU, which is a cross chassis upgrade. And in the store, on the second nav bar, you can go to the ship upgrades. Ship upgrade, the CCU means a ship upgrade. CCU is a cross chassis upgrade. And so you can see upgrade from, upgrade to. And the upgrade from will be a list of the ships that you own and that you could be willing to exchange in. So I have an Alpha, I have an X1, two X1s, I have a Cyclone, I have a Herald, and I have a Hornet Tracker that I could upgrade to something else. So say I wanted to take this X1 base, this $40 X1 base, okay, and I wanted to exchange it for say I wanted exchange it for, say I wanted this Gladius for 90 bucks, right? So I have $40 invested into this X1 base. That's what I paid for it, right? This thing is $90, so of course for the upgrade it's the difference. It's the $50. So you always keep 100% value of the real cash money that you put into the game, okay? And you can swap out and do all this kind of stuff. Now, so this concept of store credit, melting ships, being able to buy them back, and cross-chassis upgrades. I want you to remember all of these concepts because they're all going to go into a fleet management strategy that we're going to talk about in a minute. The next item I'm going to talk about is this concept of inheritance, which is if you do a cross-chassis upgrade, any statistics such as insurance on the ship you're upgrading from will transfer over to the ship you're upgrading to. So if you have something that has, say, for example, say if you had something that had lifetime insurance on it, then if you upgrade it to something, that new ship that you upgraded to will inherit the lifetime insurance. Okay, so that's called inheritance. Now let's take a moment to talk about insurance, and then I'm going to talk, which will bring me to talk about lifetime insurance and this strategy known as an LTI token. Okay, so in the game, we'll look at game packages because that'll talk about insurance. So say I decided to buy, instead of buying a game package, say I decided to buy the Avenger Stalker as my game package or as a standalone ship. Alright, that did not register. There we go. I of course get the Avenger Stalker in game, and then down here I also get these other things. These are the other things that would be inherited by an upgraded ship. Okay, so I get the AeroView hangar, which is like the baseline hangar is the self-land hangar, and then they have step 2 is the AeroView hangar, step 3 is the Revel in York, and step 4 is the VFG industrial, or the 4 hangars. There you go. So here this says this thing inherits 6 months insurance. This is basically automobile insurance, okay? Only there's no law, there's no gun being held to your head by the government making you buy insurance for this thing. In this case, in the game, it's basically just like car insurance. If your ship gets destroyed, you can file a claim, if you will, and the insurance company gives you a new ship. The ship will be back to the basic ship that you got straight out of here when you first bought it. So if you had made any upgrades to the guns and things like that, you don't get those back. It'll get the stock model off the factory floor. So these times you see here where it says 6 months insurance, I've seen 3 is the shortest, I think. But they're like 3, 6, and then you'll see ones that are like 12, 24, 36. I think they're talking some 60-month insurances now. This is not calendar time. This is literally to the second in-game play time. So 6 months insurance sounds like it's not very long to us, but think about how long it actually takes you. It would actually take you to play 6 games, 6 months worth of in-game logged in online time to get to 6 months in the game. Not even the game's calendar, the actual 6 months of you being logged into the game before that insurance would expire and you would have to buy more insurance. Buying more insurance, which doesn't, like I said, that doesn't really exist yet, but we know it's coming. Insurance is all would be bought with UEC in the game, in-game money. It's not a cash drain on you. It's not an actual. It's not bought with real dollars. It's bought with UEC in game. So think 6 months insurance is actually a ridiculously long time for you to play that. If you played and if you played 2 hours every single day, how long would it take for those 2 hours a day to to stack up to be 6 months worth of in-game time. Anyway, so is lifetime insurance that big of a deal? And my personal answer is probably not. We're still not sure 100% how much insurance is going to be a factor coming in the game, because right now, even though these things are listed with insurance, right now in 2.6.3, their insurance is not a feature in 2.6.3, and I don't think it's going to be in 3.0 yet either. So it's, you go out and get your ship blown up. You basically, you die a horrible fiery death out in the void from somebody shooting you full of holes, and you blow up. You wake up back on Port Olisar. You go back out, and you click on the thing, and you can just spawn another ship. It's not a big deal right now because insurance isn't a thing, and persistence of the ships is not a thing yet. Okay, however, we do know it's coming. So is lifetime insurance that big of a deal? Probably not. Would you like sit here and try to, would I recommend spending a whole bunch of money and brain bites and time and everything trying to figure out how to get LTI on all of your, all of the ships that you're ever going to have in your fleet? My answer there is absolutely not. Don't waste your time. If you do have a couple of LTI, and if you do use the LTI token strategy that I'm about to describe, I would kind of pick and choose which ships I would have LTI on. If I'm going to do a lot of cargo hauling, then, like say I'm using a Freelancer or maybe a Hull Charlie or a Hull Delta, yeah, I probably want LTI on those. That's the big thing. If if I've just got 6-month insurance on pretty much everything else that I'm like going to hardly ever fly, or just might only fly at certain times, or maybe I have it just for Arena Commander, yeah, 6 months insurance is probably plenty good enough. Anyway, so now the big strategy known as LTI tokens. Okay, here's how an LTI token strategy works for fleet management. The reason why you would want to use this strategy is you can, using this strategy, preserve the ability to put LTI on something that you buy at a later date that either you don't have the money to buy now, or isn't going to have LTI available on it at a later date. So typically LTI is only offered on a ship when it's in concept, when they do a concept sale, which they only do one per ship. So the last one we did was it was like 5-6 weeks ago back at Gamescom, and it was when they introduced the X1. Obviously the Pioneer just a couple of weeks ago at CitizenCon was a concept sale, but I'm not going to spend $850 just to try to do an LTI token. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, that ship's going to, I'm going to hold on to that. So LTI is typically only offered on concept ships when they are in their concept sale. Then once the concept sale is done, then of course you won't hear hide nor hair of the ship again as it goes through production and everything until maybe a year or two later when it finally gets flight ready. And then when it gets offered again, whether like maybe here in a week at the anniversary sale, some of the things that have already been concepted may be offered again. That's a typical tactic of CIG. Or later on when a ship finally becomes flyable within the verse, when they're offered for sale, they're not going to have LTI on them. They're not going to have lifetime insurance. They'll have 3-month or 6-month insurance offered on them, or maybe more. We don't know. You kind of have to wait and see. But you do know that LTI is not going to be offered on them except for in concept. That's the only time that they offer it. So whenever they do a concept sale, here's the LTI strategy, LTI token strategy. Whenever they offer a small, inexpensive ship, such as the X1 was, okay, which was, depending on which variant you got, was like 40, 50, 60 bucks. 40, I think it was 40, 45, and 50 was the 3 models. So this X1 baseline was $40. This one is my one LTI token. This X1 Force I actually plan on keeping. This one here was bought solely to be an LTI token. So that thing's only 40 bucks. Okay, so if I can afford 40 bucks, or if I have 40 bucks worth of store credit, which is why I melted the 325, because I was like, I flew it around, I like it, it's okay, but it's not great. I'm not married to it, so I want to get rid of it. So I melted that for 70 bucks. I had 70 bucks of credit. I took $40 of that credit and I bought this X1. Now, I didn't get this figured out, and I didn't get clued into this technique until the last day of the sale, so I didn't get to churn this. But so I have this $40 X1 that has LTI on it. Now, what I can do right now, or I mean not now, but I mean in the future, say something that something else becomes available later on, not LTI, that I wish I had LTI on. What I can do is I can simply go to the CCU, and I can go to the ship upgrades in the store. I can go to ship upgrades, and I can take that $40 X1 with the LTI on it, just like I demonstrated earlier, and I could upgrade it to whatever ship is being offered. So if I wanted to, upgrade it to the Freelancer, and because I wanted to buy a Freelancer and I wanted to have LTI on it, well, Freelancers are not being offered with LTI on them anymore. So I already have $40 invested in that. This thing costs $110, so I could turn around and pay real cash money the remaining $70, or I could also apply any store credit, and this would go out of my account, and this would come into my account, and this would have LTI because it inherited it from that. In other words, my X1 would turn into the Freelancer, and my Freelancer would have LTI. Okay, so that's how you can that's how the getting LTI onto a bigger, better ship works. Now here's where the real churn is. Before I did that, this is the reason why to do an LTI. This is how you functionally get the LTI onto the bigger and better ship. Now here's where the token churn comes in. So whenever you melt a ship, a token for that ship that you melted comes into the buyback pledges. And you could, if you decided later, oh crap, I melted that ship and I want to buy it back, you could do it for real cash money. Okay, so I could, the $70 Origin 325, I could hit buyback and I could pay real cash money right now. Or if I have one of these tokens, which you get, they hand these out about twice a year, maybe once a quarter, every once in a while. You have to have one of these tokens if you want to be able to use store credit. If you're going to buy something back, usually you're going to end up having to pay cash for it, which is okay. So here's the game. And this is something that you need to be thinking about anytime you hear the phrase concept sale. Whenever you hear the phrase concept sale coming out, hey, there's going to be a concept sale next week, you need to think potential LTI token generating opportunity. So if it's a small ship, if it's a small price ship that you can afford, like a $40 X1, you buy the X1. And then you turn around and you melt it, which of course will create a buyback token, and you will have the $40 credit in your store credits. You take the store credits there and you go buy an X1 again, and then you melt that, and then you buy another X1 with the store credits, and then you melt that, and then you buy an X1 with the store credits and you melt that. And for as many times as you can cycle that through, you can stack up LTI, you can stack up buyback tokens that have LTI because the concept ship had LTI on it over and over and over again until the end of the concept sale. I believe you can melt and rebuy, I think, once a day, which means that concept sale was 7 days long, which means I could have stacked up like 7 or 8 and still end up with the, the last time you do this sort of round trip of the money without it actually being money, you leave the last one actually sitting in your inventory. So now what happens is now I've got, now you'd have 6 or 7 of these low-cost LTI ships with LTI sitting in your buyback pledges. So later on in the future, they go, oh, hey, we're going to offer a something, and it's going to cost, you know, $110 in concept. And you're like, oh, crap, I can't afford that right now, but I really, really want that ship. Okay, so it goes away. Well, it comes back later, say at the anniversary sale, and says, hey, it's, you know, here it's offered again for $110, but it's no, doesn't have LTI any longer. It only has, you know, say 6 months insurance. Well, you can go into your buyback pledges. You could go to one of those ones that you're using as an LTI token. You go buy back. You pay the $40 to buy that thing back. Then you go to CCU. You go to ship upgrades. Under store, you go to ship upgrades, and you CCU it into that new thing, and the LTI moves across. That's the LTI token strategy. Anywho, I think that's almost it. We're at 45 minutes. The last thing is gifting, and gifting is exactly what the word means. You can give any ship that you bought to somebody else. You can gift it to them. Okay, come on. There you go. So, you know, so like say if I wanted to give this away, oops, you got to expand down here. Nope, that one's not giftable. Boink, that one is. It'll be a button right there that says gift. You can mash on that, and you can give it to somebody else. And you just got to put in their account or their email address, and it will send them a link, such as this. These two posters, I got 2 of them because I'm a subscriber. I don't know why they give me 2, but I went ahead and gifted that one. Homeboy just has not, the person I gifted him to has not come and hit the accept button, because the second he does, that'll disappear out of my inventory and will show up in his. Okay, so that's giftable. Gifting. So again, now that I've talked about gifting and all of these things, package warning. Okay, if it says package, do not gift this, do not melt it, because you will have given away or melted away your access into the persistent universe. Okay, so that is game interfaces, money systems, and fleet management in a nutshell. Thank you very much for your time. Once you've done that and you've downloaded the game, what you will see when you hit the game to log in to launch for the first time, it will bring up this screen that you see here. If you need an update, this button will say update. When it's ready to launch, then you mash on that launch game button. It will then bring up 2 other splash screens, one of them that says Lumberyard. When that Lumberyard one comes up, I would reach up here and hit this X and kill the launcher, because the launcher is a resource hog. It's known to be a resource hog. Once the Lumberyard splash screen comes up, it takes a long time for the game to load, but you will eventually get to this menu. And this is where it'll be sitting when you're all logged in. This button up here gets you to the persistent universe. This one takes you into the Star Marine game module, and this one brings you into Arena Commander. You can quit. You can get into all the options. I'm not going to get into all of them now. And your contacts list, which, oh, by the way, is the same one that's on the RSI website. So if you want to add people on there, they just automatically auto-populate into this contacts list here. If you go into the PU, the persistent universe, you click that button and it brings you into this screen, which right now the only place that you can go in the actual persistent universe is Crusader. That's where you see everybody waking up on Port Olisar and getting out to their ships and go flying around what looks like Jupiter, going out to its moons. Area 18 is actually this place. You can actually go in here and walk around, but it doesn't have any people. There's no place to take off from. It's basically, you can just kind of go in and explore this landing area known as Area 18, and it's a little bit devoid of life right now. Every hangar that you have access to get into, you can get into your hangars right here. And this is actually a hangar that you walk around in and look around at. And you can spawn in your ships, and you can also do some maintenance on your stuff, such as swapping out weapons and things like this. There's your contact contact list again. That's how you go back to that other list. If you go into Arena Commander, it brings you into this, where you can, do I want to play the multiplayer games where you can get wreck? Do I want to just do a single player thing, like maybe I want to go racing, then you click on single player? Or if you're in with your friends, you guys can do a private match and play against each other or with each other, both either coordinated, or you guys can, you guys can co-op, or you can play against each other. But private matches do not earn wreck. You have to play the out in the community, go get shot up by people you probably aren't going to ever like again, like Taco Burrito, to earn wreck, or race against actual other people. If you decide to go into Star Marine, it has a similar interface. This is actually a slightly older version. I think there's another, but it's the same thing. If you go into multiplayer, you're going to be playing with other people out there, MMO style, but you'll get credit and you can get wrecked that way. Or you can go into a private match if you just want to shoot up your friends. Because that's always a highly recommended thing, shooting up your friends. Okay, so that was a lot of information, a lot of show and tell very quickly. For the old nuggets out there who were silly enough to actually sit through my gums flapping, I hope you saw a few things, or maybe heard a new strategy out of that. For the noobs, welcome. This is probably way too fast, or maybe it was too long-winded, and I briefed you into unconsciousness. Please feel free to contact me with questions. I also know Matt would be more than happy to answer your questions. Chamdren, AR Chamdren, if you see him on our Discord, or you can always reach any of us at aurora.republic.org@gmail.com. Also via the website, we have a contact form in there where you can get information to us, or get us a question, and we will answer it as quickly and as accurately as we possibly can. All right, thank you very much for your time and your attention, and have yourselves a good morning, afternoon, or evening.